Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another session of Easy Dharma for the New Normal. And today we're going to continue on a session with the Wheel of Sharp Weapons. Let me see, verse 54 onwards. All right. So, as usual, I will see who's on, and then we'll go from there. Let me see, Kechara. Hope everybody has had a good dinner earlier. I did. So, or you could be eating, but I hope not. I mean, it's 9:30. Okay, it's still loading. Aha, I see myself. Some kind of glow though. Okay, it's not working. Come on. Click. Hello. Okay, I'm still trying to load myself up. Anyway, good evening to you guys. I see Kelvin. It's not the full screen thing. What is going on? Fine. Not yet. Just give me a moment, right?
The lens might be a little bit oily.
No, it's not that. I was trying to click on myself so I get a full screen. Okay, never mind. I'll just see from this view. Okay, I see Pastor Honey. I see Kelvin. Good evening. And Pastor Honey, Kin Ho, Esther, Ramesh. Good evening. Karine, Miaoki, and a number of other people. So there's something wrong with my computer. I just can't load. So I only can see from a certain view. It's not exactly live, but never mind. So anyway, let's carry on. So today, the concept about this whole Wheel of Sharp Weapons, I have to reiterate a little bit, and is to remove our self-cherishing, self-grasping mind. And in order to do that, we need to develop what is known as the Bodhi mind, or bodhicitta. All right, so there is, as I mentioned before, there is many stages to it, and 2 stages in fact, conventional and ultimate bodhicitta, right? So I won't go so much into that because I think you already, if you know it's good. If you don't, it may be a little complicated at the beginning. It's just technical knowledge. Today I would like to bring up something different, which is the benefits of bodhicitta. And even the benefits is quite interesting in the sense that okay, here it goes. There are 10 traditionally bodhicitta. There are 10 benefits. Okay, number 1 is bodhicitta as the gateway for entering the Mahayana, the path of the Mahayana. Number 2, you receive the name a child of the Buddha. Number 3, we surpass in brilliance all hearers and solitary realizers. I'll explain this. Some of them is interesting. Some of them I think you will find it you can relate to. Number 4, you will become an object of the highest respect and offering. Number 5, a collection of merit and insight will be easily completed. Number 6, obstacles presented by negative karma will be eliminated quickly. Number 7, whatever you wish for in general will come about. Number 8, it prevents or overcomes harm and interferences. Number 9, we will quickly complete all the realizations of the path. Number 10, we will become a source of comfort and happiness for all sentient beings. All right, so these are the 10 benefits you gain from developing bodhicitta. And you may think, even if you know the intimate details of the benefits, you may think, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm more concerned with my problems and my ordinary samsaric wishes. But you see, when it comes to gaining our samsaric wishes, aspirations, and goals, comes with the obstacles to it, comes with the problems of trying to get it, comes with the problems of losing it, that comes with the problems of maintaining it, maintaining a relationship, maintaining a material object, property, etc. Maintaining a situation, a comfortable situation. There's a lot of problems, there's a lot of challenges, there's a lot of issues that comes along with it. So the problems will never end. So that's what the view of sharp weapons is about. When you read all the problems, one or the other, it will strike you. Some you will find laughable. You may think that it will not relate to you, but when you understand the meaning, you realize it does. You do relate to it. It might have happened to you. The thought may have risen in your mind, whatever it is. So the issue is that whatever problems is that there are, it will always come. As long as we do not remove the cause of it, you will always go through the same problems again and again and again. So that's why in the end, when later on you read it doesn't even tell you, it's because of this problem. It just tells you the issues, and then it asks Yamataka to trample on the head of this self-cherishing mind. Right? So that's the interesting part. Okay, let's go into some of the benefits, right? Bodhicitta, you become a child of the Buddha. It means that, firstly, of course, the path of the Mahayana. I think some of you may relate, some of you may not. So, in order to to remove ourselves completely from all our problems, we have to enter into the Mahayana, and to become fully enlightened, to complete the journey of our spiritual path, our spiritual goal. So, we have to go onto the path of the Mahayana, the greater vehicle, in order to become a Buddha. So, when we do that, we're known as, when we enter the path of the Mahayana, when we enter the path of a bodhisattva, of thinking on the higher level of all sentient beings, making the aspiration. You see, in order to have the aspiration to be a bodhisattva, you have two levels of aspiration, which is two aspirations that goes together to have, in order to develop that kind of aspiration to be fully enlightened. Number one is to overcome the sufferings and the causes of sufferings of all sentient beings. Number two is, in order to do that, you have to first become enlightened. So you make the aspiration to be enlightened in order to alleviate all the problems, all the sufferings of all sentient beings. So it is dual. It's not just overcome the suffering, because no matter how developed you are spiritually, as long as you're not fully awakened, you're not a fully enlightened Buddha, you will never be able to overcome any of the problems. Because, I won't say not any of the problems, but most of the problems. And let's face it, we have our own problems, our own negative karma, our own obstacles, our own problems. In order to overcome ours, we have to overcome all sentient beings. That's the tricky part of it. In order to develop the aspiration, we have to think of others instead of ourselves. We have to have that selflessness. So that's the aspect of that is interesting about bodhicitta, developing bodhicitta, and becoming fully enlightened. Even before we have overcome our own problems, we have to to have the aspiration to help all beings, including ourselves, of course. So the whole idea is to uproot all our problems through the path of a bodhisattva. They seem to be a little weird. My computer is acting up in a very weird way. Okay, I think I'll just refresh my screen.
No questions so far.
Okay, thank you. So anyway, let me go. The first two verses are a simple prayer. Verse 54 is Hum Hum. Show all your powers, O mighty protector. Za Za, tie up this enemy, do not let him loose. Pet Pet. Set us free by your might, O great Lord of death. Cut, cut, break the knot of self-interest that binds us in sight. So the commentary, I had to read up the commentary on this one because it's a little bit on it's a prayer to Yamataka, and it repeats 2 syllables for each line. Hum, hum, za, za, pat, pat, cut, cut. The double repetition, or the repetition of the syllables is symbolic of bodhicitta, the 2 levels of bodhicitta, and also overcoming the self-grasping and self-cherishing mind. So self-grasping, self-cherishing, you overcome it by using bodhicitta and the 2 types of bodhicitta. So hence the double repetition is symbolic of that. And hum, hum, za, za, pat, pat, subjugation. Za, za, za is calling the deities, the Buddhas to come forth. You know, when you do certain pujas, when we do the invocation, and then we invite the Buddhas to reside within the Buddha image, we do a mantra called, that is Za Hum Bam Ho. Some of you may know, some of you may not, doesn't matter. So I'm just telling you. So the Za, the first syllable of that mantra, is to invite the actual being to come, the actual wisdom being or the Buddhas to come. And then Pat is to subjugate, whom I'm not so sure. All right, so it's basically a simple prayer to Yamataka. A simple prayer to Yamataka to cut our obstacles, the enemy. And what's the enemy? Our ignorance. Our ignorance of this self-cherishing, self-grasping mind, this level of the mind which is so deep-rooted inside of us. All right? And then the next verse, appear, Yamataka, O wrathful protector. I have further entreaties to make of you still. This sack of 5 poisons, mistakes and delusions drag us down in the quicksand of life's daily toil. Cut it off, rip it to shreds. So this is after you ask Yamataka to cut our self-cherishing mind, then you ask Yamataka again, come forth, and I still have something to request of you, which is this body, this sack of 5 poisons, this sack, when they say sack, is referring to our body. Because in samsara, how we relate to the world is through our body, through our actions, through our speech, which comes from our body, through our thoughts, which is out in our mind, but from our mind we act out through our speech, through our actions. Okay? So the 5 poisons is representative of ignorance, hatred, desire, jealousy, pride. Okay? These are the very common delusions we have. All of us have it from time to time again. Sometimes we realize it, sometimes we don't. It does not matter. Whether we realize it or we don't realize, we have pride, we have jealousy, we have attachment, we have aversion, we have anger. It does not matter whether you realize it or not. The karma is already created, and we will receive the repercussion. Every action, every thought, even thinking, not acting out, not saying anything, has karma. Okay, that's mental karma. Okay, the screen is refreshed, and finally I can see myself, I can see you guys properly, and I see Wei Teng, Pastor Gimli, Elsie Toy. Oof. It was just, I guess I left my computer on for too long, and I'm glowing. Sorry, it was just a joke. So this body that we have used again and again to commit these 5 poisons, actions that is tainted by the 5 poisons, the 5 types of negative qualities. Okay, we've used again and again, and and the next line says it drags us down in the quicksand of life's daily toil. What does it mean, drag down? When in Dharma, when you go down, means you commit negative actions. Negative actions lead to what? Negative circumstances. If you steal, you will find that your you will live in poverty. You create the causes for poverty. You create the causes to lose material items. Okay, if you kill, you shorten your life. You create causes to have disease. You create causes to have illnesses, for example. So all these actions, if you are jealous, you create the cause that you will jealousy. What the jealousy would be in a situation where you always yearn for something and you never get it. You will be in a situation you're forced to be like that. You'll be forced into a situation where all the negative situations all right. So what happens is all these negative situations, negative qualities, jealousy, hatred, desire, pride makes you not learn. Pride makes you people take advantage of you. People don't respect you. Jealousy makes, I still want to attempt jealousy, although it's not jiving in my head right now, but I will still want to attempt jealousy. Jealousy is when we cannot rejoice. Okay, we cannot rejoice. We lose the opportunity to think good of others, and we increase our attachments by thinking only about ourselves and what we didn't get. All right, so all this drags us down because it creates the karma, it creates circumstances, and we experience the negative circumstances, and because we have not realized the cause of all these problems, so we will keep experiencing again and again and again. Whatever we experience, whatever negative problems we experience, we have experienced it before. It's just that we have not realized it. So our actions perpetuate again. Okay, so it goes again and again. That's why it's a wheel of sharp weapons. A wheel means it goes round and round and round, meaning we create the causes and we receive the result, and by receiving the result we create more causes. It goes back and forth, back and forth. It never ends. So because it never ends, so we go down. Okay, so that's the problem. All the negative qualities we have, this sack of 5 points, this body that we used to commit again and again negative actions, so it drags us down. So it's asking Yamataka, please make me realize things. It's not really to calm our body. No, Yamataka doesn't do that. A Buddha would not do that. I know Yamataka looks wrathful with weapons and all, but the weapons are all meant to destroy, to cut, to chop our negative qualities. It's an inward thing. It's an inward purification, I would say. Not purification and not harm. All right? So this part is a prayer. These 2 verses that I recited just now was a prayer, a request to Yamataka. Okay, to overcome, to help us realize the cause of all our problems, which is the self-cherishing mind that always perpetuates itself, that believes it's real, that is insecure, that needs to be reassured, that needs to be proven, that needs to be taken care of, that needs to be fed with attachments, all the time, and it's a voracious appetite. Voracious means it never ends. So you keep feeding with attachments, with comforting it with attachments, but it never gets satisfied. It doesn't end, because the cause of the problem is not the attachments itself. It's actually the mind that has attachment. The mind, the operator, the person who operates the computer, the car. Your body is a car. The driver is a self-cherishing mind at the moment. So, and this self-cherishing is driving this car towards a place where you don't want to go. So that's the problem. So in order to realize that this driver is not you. It's not who you really are. Not that it's not you, like it sounds so weird. I'm not me. It's not. I don't mean that. I don't mean in some kind of, nihilistic, nothing really exists kind of way. What I mean is, it's not who you really are. We don't need all these attachments. We don't need this reassurance. We don't need a lot of things that we think we need. So we have this misconception, there's wrong view, and it's this wrong driver. We need to get a new driver. All right, so if you have any questions about it, please let me know. Right? So the point of this text is to go deeper using wisdom and according to the Buddha. I mean, in this case, it's of course the person who composed Dharma, and his realizations comes from the Buddha's teachings. All right, so and through his wisdom, through the Buddha's wisdom, he had realized that the cause of the actual person who creates all this suffering, all these problems that each verse is talking about is the self-cherishing mind. So it's understanding what this self-cherishing mind is about. How do you understand what is self-cherishing and what is self-grasping? That's why we're doing this reading. Later on when you read, it comes clearer and clearer, okay, with each verse. But you have to think a little bit, I know. So that's why it's important for you guys to question, and if you are doing something halfway and then you're listening, it will not work. This one you have to pay full attention. If you do not pay full attention, you will not get it. Because it is quite deep, what I'm explaining about. All right, so the next verse. We are drawn to the sufferings of miserable rebirths, yet mindless of pain, we go after its cause. Trample him, dance on the head of this treacherous concept of selfish concern. Tear out the heart of this self-centered butcher who slaughters our chance to gain final release. So it's just a general statement here in a sense that most of the actions that we commit on a daily basis, on a macro level of 10 years, 20 years, half our lifetime, our entire lifetime in fact, okay, it actually leads us towards more and more rebirths. So sometimes we think, oh, but if it's leading me to a higher rebirth, it's okay, no problem. But actually not true, because what happens is it's a temporary distraction. When you take another rebirth, it's a temporary distraction because the causes are there still. The causes will never ever go away for you to suffer. Never. As long as you're taking rebirth in samsara, you will always experience suffering. And suffering, please understand what suffering is. Suffering is, even right now, you may logically when you hear I'm suffering, I don't know, I'm not suffering. I'm okay with it. I have a nice job, I have a comfortable life, I have a roof over my head, I have food on the table. I have a little bit of suffering in the sense that I can't go out, but I'm not really suffering. When in Buddhism, when we talk of suffering, the misconception, actually that's why some Buddhist scholars don't like to use the word suffering, because it's a misconception, mistranslation, is it? Because the word itself cannot be translated properly, exactly into English. It doesn't have an exact translation because it has many meanings. One of them is suffering in a sense of, because when you talk of suffering is physical pain. But suffering is not just physical pain. That's one small aspect of suffering. The bigger aspect of suffering is dissatisfaction. So that's the part about suffering that in Buddhism we are talking about. Because dissatisfaction is the one that drives us to do a lot of things that that creates a lot of negative karma. Dissatisfaction leads us to attachment. Attachment leads us to we hoard things, leads us to have emotional issues, leads us to have emotional scars, lead us to having a very rigid mind where what is right must be right. If you challenge me, I will not like it, and it will make me go upset. It will upset my mind. So that's the suffering that in Buddhism we're talking about. So don't have this misconception that suffering means physical pain alone. And only physical pain is only one small aspect. If you read many of the verses, it's not talking of any kind of physical pain at all. It's talking of mental pain, mental problems, dissatisfaction, and many other issues. All right, so that's the suffering that we're talking about. So because we have not removed the causes, we will continue experiencing again. We will take rebirth again and again. And in fact, for many of us, we do not need to wait to another rebirth. We will continue to experience the same issues again and again until even in our small little, in our lives, as long as we've not overcome any emotional issue, we will come again and again across a situation where we'll experience the same problems associated with our emotional issue. Let's say an emotional issue is about we cannot let go, we cannot be alone. And we think, for some of us, we think that the cause is to be. It's a huge problem in us, and the only way to overcome it is to have a lot of people around us. And the problem about that is that we cannot control people. There are moments where we need to be alone. There are important moments in life. Sometimes we have to face it alone. And then if being alone is an emotional issue, then we have problems sometimes facing certain moments in life. What do you call this? Life's decisions. A time in our life where we need to take a drastic action. Sometimes we need to make it alone. We have to face it alone, and just by circumstances. Sometimes it's something that we have no one to talk to, and we just have to deal with it. And so, for example, I'm just giving it's a very rough example, so don't come and Anyway, just let me know if you have any questions about this. It sounds very wow, Judgment Day and all that, but actually it is more about dealing with emotional issues. The Wheel of Sharp Weapons deals a lot with many manifestations of our problems, our issues, and the idea about seeing all these manifestations, the different ways we experience problems and sufferings. So that we understand where it comes from. The way it's written, the way it's composed, it's meant for you to realize where it arises from. It is, you see, it's always given in such a way. It tells you the problem and the cause, and then under that is a prayer to Yamata to trample on the self-cherishing mind, and it tells you basically that prayer at the bottom tells you the actual underlying reason, and in a nutshell, it's just the self-cherishing mind. He could have just written just one verse. Everything arose from the self-cherishing mind. Please solve that. But the master realized that people need to realize it for themselves. So he needs to tell them the immediate cause and the actual problem. So all the problems, all the immediate causes, so it's different. Some immediate causes are different. Some, it's not exactly self-cherishing mind. It could be, whatever it is that created that problem. All right. So, okay, I have a question here by Miao Qi. Is white lies considered negativity too? For example, telling white lies to cover up children's exam results to own spouse. That's very, very specific. Huh? To own spouse in order to prevent strict beating towards the child. Is it wrong to tell white lies, and would this causes karma too? Yes, everything is karma, Miao Qi. Everything is karma. White lies depends on why you deem it a white lie. What is your reasons behind it? Because it's whatever is we're not so concerned of the action. We're more concerned of the result of the action, right? When we think of karma, we're worried about what comes back to us. Okay. So what comes back to us, the term is actually vipaka, although not many people will know that. So what comes back to us is determined not by the action. It's not the action that determines what comes back to us. It's your intention. Okay? So usually when you say white lie, means when you lie in order to, it's a small little lie in order to avoid certain problems. All right? So it really depends your intention. Sometimes you call sometimes for some people white lie is to avoid avoid being scolded, avoid taking responsibility. It can grow into become a very big thing. So it's very subjective what white lie is for different people. But most important about lying is that the result of you lying, what will come out of your lying, will determine whether it's a white lie, a small little lie, or a big lie. Okay, a big harmful lie. Sometimes what seems small at the beginning can be very harmful later. For example, but this is what I'm thinking. Since you talk about this lying to your spouse in order that the kids do not get disciplined, right? It could be bad. It become very bad in the sense that if you keep doing it, it might spoil the child. So they will keep not performing in school, not studying, not becoming disciplined enough to study, and then they will fail. They'll keep failing. So it really depends on how you define what is white, what is lie, what is a big lie, what is whether. Sometimes if the child, it could result in something else. But I'm just saying it could be that. So it's very, very subjective. It doesn't. At this point, it's not so important to look at each small little actions. It's more of the bigger actions that we do. Okay, it's more important, like lying, right? Small little white lies, it's not so important. It's the big lies when we usually, what is big lies is lies that we tell in order to avoid responsibility, in order to help people get away with murder, literally, problems, situations that they should take responsibility of, but they don't. And then we get the karma of it. So I'm not saying that about your children, I'm just saying in general. Okay, so I think this is it could be just a general example. And more importantly is your intention of why you're doing anything. So that's what, and also who you are doing to. There's many factors when it comes to karma. All right. So more importantly is at this point, at this juncture, you must understand the idea of this whole teaching is actually to assess our mental attitude. Okay, our mental attitude at the moment, whether we are more selfish. Self-cherishing is just being selfish. It's just the dharmic term for selfishness. Okay, and how we assess our selfishness will be how we deal with the problems that comes to us, especially mentioned here. All right, so all of us have a certain measure of selfishness. As long as you are not sitting on the altar, you have not realized bodhicitta, you will definitely be selfish to a certain level. And it's more important of how we overcome the selfishness, and it tells you, it gives you an idea, because a lot of our selfishness, we don't even realize we're selfish. We think it's natural. We think it's all right. We think that this is who we are. Actually, this is not who we are. It's not. Being selfish is not who we really are. So who we really are is what we term as the body mind inside of us that we need to tap into. Okay? And this is from this is a comment from Sharon Ong. This kind of white lie will not help the child learn about the consequences of their actions and may even harm the relationship between the parents. Okay, this is from a parent to another parent, I suppose. Yeah, I tend to agree. So it really depends. Sometimes if it's just a one-off situation, it's okay, but don't keep doing, because there's a saying that, the very simple English saying of, spare the rod and spoil the child. You don't want to do that. Okay, let's go on to the next verse, right? Verse 57. We have high expectations of speedy attainments. Oh, I do. Yet do not wish to work at the practice involved. We have many fine projects we plan to accomplish, yet none of them ever get done in the end. Trample him, dance on the head of this treacherous concept of selfish concern. Tear out the heart of this self-centered butcher who slaughters our chance to gain final release. Okay, so we have two scenarios here. The first two lines talks about attainments. We want to have quick attainments. We want transformation like yesterday, like next week. We want to gain bodhicitta next week. Okay, but we are not willing to enter into a retreat. We're not willing to do our sadhanas. We're not willing to study the Dharma. It's too boring. It's too difficult. But we want attainments. We understand. At least we understand what attainments are. I hope. Attainments here is talking about overcoming our problems, developing renunciation. At our level, renunciation is a wonderful attainment for any of us right now, and it will solve so many of our problems. You have no idea how much it will solve. What is renunciation in a nutshell, which I recently heard in a teaching shared by Rinpoche and also Lama Yeshe, which is, what is renunciation? Renunciation is when we have something we like, or a person we like, a situation we like, if we are not attached to it. That means if we lose it, we will not upset our world. We will not go into chaos. We will not become, we will not throw a huge fit because we've lost a loved one. We've lost a favorite object, a favorite pen, a favorite handbag, a favorite car. We had a car accident. We've lost some property, some investments. We go into a tailspin. We lost 200,000 in the stock market. Our whole world don't crash because of that. And if we gain something, let's say we've gained some property. We're so happy. We've bought a nice BMW. We've bought we've just got a girlfriend, just got a baby, we just got a husband, just got married. We are on top of the world. We're so happy. Okay, we're so happy. We're so distracted. We don't realize we don't realize we have forgotten some of our commitments. We're not so interested in the Dharma anymore. We're not interested to hang out with some friends anymore because we are too busy enjoying ourselves. Okay, so you see these two aspects. One is when we get something, one we lose something. One doesn't distract us. Meaning when we get something, usually we get very, very distracted in enjoying it, that we neglect people, we neglect situations, we neglect our responsibilities. And the other one is when we lose something, it doesn't send our world into a tailspin. That is renunciation. That is on a relational level what renunciation is about. Relational level means on a level of how our mind operates. Okay, so that is a good attainment for any of us to develop renunciation. Understanding it, this is just in a nutshell. Okay, there's much more to it. Okay, so that will be something for you guys to chew on, to think about when we are the moment we're very, very happy, and the moment we are very down. These two, if the same circumstances arises again, does it distract us? Does it upset us? Upset our world? Okay, so we have to think. And if it does not, we have reached a certain level of attainment already, on a very ordinary level. Okay. Anyway, the next part of the verse talks about we have many fine projects we plan to accomplish, yet none of them ever are done in the end. You know why? What it means is when we have a lot of things we plan out to do, we start, but we never finish. We want to do this, we want to do that, we want to do this, we want to do that, but we never reach to its end. It is because we are not focused. It is because we are not focused on on achieving the result, on the completion, or rather the completion of the project, and we get sidetracked. Why we get sidetracked? Because we are very attached. We we get upset, we get distracted, because remember the renunciation, we know when things go bad, when we encounter obstacles, sometimes it derails us. Or it's our habit. Some of us, we have a habit of not completing our work, and then we want to do something because our mind is like that. We want to jump one thing to another. We're always seeking gratification. What's gratification? Something new, something exciting, a new trend, a new project. Some people are always going into different projects, but never end. It never ends. The project never comes to a completion. It started, reached to the middle, and just hanging. So why? Because of this self-cherishing mind that wants gratification. They wants to. Sometimes it's just it's just a distraction, because sometimes we are just extremely we like to do something new all the time. It's impossible to do something new all the time. We need to do something in order to reach a certain result, a certain end. Okay, so but sometimes the end is not our focus, and we do not receive the benefits of the project itself. The project, it could be a worldly project, it could be a Dharma project, whatever it is to receive a certain result, isn't it? If we, in order to receive the end result of the project, whatever project that we're doing, we need to persevere to the end. So, and not get distracted by another project or some other distraction. Sometimes it doesn't have to be another project. Sometimes just we love to get ourselves distracted, and it's a habit. Okay, so that's the type of mind that gets distracted easily, that allows itself to be distracted. So I see some new other people: Phoebe, Satsa Ong, Abby Fu, hello. Okay, so the Lama who composed this text requests Yamataka to step on the head of the self-cherishing. It doesn't say self-cherishing mind. It says the concept of selfish concern. It's just a concept in our head. It's not us. Okay, it's not asking Yamataka to step on this self, meaning us. It's this concept we have in our head. This selfish concept. Okay, next one. Our wish to be happy is strong at all times, yet we do not gather merit to yield this result. We have little endurance for hardship and suffering, yet ruthlessly push for the things we desire. Trample him, dance on the head of this treacherous concept of selfish concern, tear out the heart of this self-centered butcher who slaughters our chance to gain final release. Okay, this one talks about merit and about happiness. Happiness, I remember this discussion. We had a discussion about this happiness the other day. It was very interesting in a sense that everybody have a different concept of what happiness is, because in Dharma, what we are seeking for a type of happiness that is not what we find in the world out there today. Because why we come to the Dharma, we're not looking for worldly happiness. We're not looking for success in business. I know some of us, initially came in requesting Doji Shukden. We like the protector practice, and because it helps us overcome the initial issues. But the ultimate goal of Dharma is not to solve our initial, our worldly problems. It is actually to look for something longer lasting, long-term, a long-term sort of happiness. In Dharma, we are not so much concerned with short-term happiness. That one can be done by, in a secular level, and also in Dharma, we have practices that help us with our secular problems in order to gain secular happiness. That is called a Dharma protector practice. So here it says we want to be happy, but we do not want to collect the merit in order to be truly happy, to be really, really happy. And how do we collect the merit? I mean, all of us know, collect merit. collect merit. collect merit. So, but in order to be happy, what kind of merit do we wish to collect? So we in Dharma, we're looking towards gaining some sort of actual longer lasting happiness than worldly happiness, than short-term gratification, than just about buying a car, getting a wife, having a family, and it's beyond that. So we want a happiness that is long-lasting. We're looking in the future lives. We're looking into helping people, others with their problems, with their issues. We're looking into developing renunciation. Actually, I think the best way to explain it is renunciation. It's a huge word. But you just think about it. All our problems come because, as I mentioned before, we encounter a problem. We want something. There's only a few scenarios. We want something. We want a person, we want a partner, a situation, a partner, or an object, a material object, a material item. Could be a car, could be a business deal, could be a property, an investment, or whatever it is, okay? We want it, so we seek it out. And then on the other hand, when we have it, so there are a lot of problems getting it, wishing, finding a means to get it. So you need to collect the merit to get it. Then the next one is, when we have it, we have to maintain it. Maintaining a husband, a wife, kids, maintaining the property, housework lah, maintenance lah, the bills we have to pay, the maids we have to hire, the problems that comes with the maids, the problems that come with, so many problems. Okay, I mean, that's just a material object, which is a house, a property. And then it could be a scenario, which is it could be our health, even our health, because there's such thing as impermanence. We are no longer young. Health issues come about, so we can only do certain things, and it will impair our ability to work and then enjoy ourselves. There's so many issues that comes about. All right, so happiness is actual happiness that we're looking in Dharma is not short term. It's a type of happiness that when we get these material items, when we have these people, loved ones around us, friends around us, when we have all these good things in life, it does not distract us from who we really are, meaning the kind person that we are, the generous person. It does not distract us from improving ourselves. It doesn't distract us from being haughty, that we think we are somebody and then we need to be treated in such a way. It doesn't change us. It doesn't change us. Basically, it doesn't change us. It doesn't make us a different person. And then when we don't have it, it doesn't bring us down. So down that it upsets our world, our whole world come crashing down. So in Dharma, we're looking for that type of happiness, and that type of happiness can only be found by developing renunciation, understanding, having realization about life. Okay, so it is about life and perspective. And in order to have a higher perspective of life, about the problems that we experience, the joys that we experience, to have a higher, more wisdom-like understanding or realization of life, we need to develop renunciation. So it doesn't bring you down, nor does it pull you, doesn't bring you down or distract you, or make you into someone else, a selfish, different person. Because for some people, when they have all the good things in life, they become not nice. So we don't want to be that. Or we lose our interest in higher things like Dharma and all that. So we don't want to be like that. Okay, let me see. There's some interesting comments. Sharon asks, what is the difference between hardship and suffering? Hardship and suffering. So I guess you are talking about in Dharma, in a Dharmic sense lah. Okay, there are some things in life, in Dharma, right? We have to experience a certain type of obstacles. And it's not really obstacles. I would say it was more like challenges. All right. Sometimes, in order to experience some sort of, in order to do Dharma, we need to experience certain types of problems, hardship, as you call it. I think that's what you mean, right? Because there's no such thing, everything good in our lives, even secular level and even in Dharma, we will experience a certain measure of problems, obstacles, challenges. And my screen is flashing, I don't know why. It's flashing. It's strange. Okay, anyway, we'll always experience some sort of problems, whatever we do in a secular or a spiritual. But the thing is, it leads to something else in Dharma. It leads to developing renunciation. It leads to a collection of merits. It leads to a higher state of mind, an understanding that is on a higher level. Okay? So it's different. So that kind of problems, I would call hardship. I wouldn't call even, I don't like the word hardship actually, because it has a very negative connotation. Because in Dharma books, they don't really talk about, they call it obstacles. They don't call it hardship, they don't call it suffering. Suffering is usually used for when we encounter dissatisfaction and the problems that comes with dissatisfaction, or the problems in life, like for example, when we have something, we want it so badly, we work so hard. Sometimes the amount of effort that we use to get, we invest into getting something or someone, it's so much, but at the end we get this, and then it doesn't last. For example, we work so hard to get a BMW, it's a $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 car, and we took like 5 years, 10 years to work the amount, really work ourselves up in order to buy a car. That within 1-2 years, it has its first breakdown. And then when we attempt to sell it, the 20-25% is gone. The value is gone. Oh my God, my screen is going crazy. Anyway.
There's one more comment from a question by Mr. Lam. Actually, I'll read out.
Yeah, please do. My computer looks like it's haunted right now.
I think by consistently practicing mindfulness, we will be able to overcome our selfishness that we are unaware of. But it really depends on ourselves, how determined we are in removing our self-cherishing mind through being mindful.
True. In order to be mindful, you need to know, to understand, to realize, to have an understanding first, meaning through learning, what a selfish, self-cherishing mind is like. So that's the idea about this text. Because for some of us, we just have no exposure. We don't know what it is. So we just think it's normal. We think this is who we are. This is natural. This is not something negative. This is not. Some of you wouldn't even call it self-cherishing. It's just surviving. The word surviving. A lot of people use that. Pastor Neral, let me know if there's any comment, because my screen has gone crazy. I don't know why. All right, thank you. So let me know if you have any questions. We're going on a deeper level. I follow me as much as you can, and if you can't, just let me know. Okay. And even if you want me to re-explain something, because sometimes I don't know, sometimes the words just come out well. Okay, so where are we? Yeah, we wish to be happy is very strong in us, but we don't do the right things to bring about it. We don't collect the right merits. Okay, that didn't come out right. We didn't collect the merits in order to be happy. And I was defining what happiness is on a dharmic level, which is development of renunciation. It's to have good things in life and not be distracted by it, not making us a different person, not bring us down. And when we are, when we lose something, it doesn't bring us completely down. So basically, our mind remains stable. It doesn't change in a sense of who we really are. We don't lose grasp of who we really are, because who we really are is the kind, generous, spiritual, giving person inside of us. And in spirituality, we're trying to reach that part of the mind, because that's who we really are. And all we are, and we catch glimpses of it from time to time. Okay, when we love someone, when we like someone, we have this glimpse of it. Okay, there's always someone we care about, we love, even the most hardened criminals. Hence, according to Sam Rinpoche, that is a singular proof that it's natural. It's a natural part of our mind, because everyone has it, every single person. Okay, next line says, we have little endurance for hardship and suffering, yet ruthlessly push for the things we desire. Oh, this is a very interesting statement. Huh? We are very scared of problems. We are very scared of losing things, losing grasp of reality, losing our mind to what? To negative emotions, negative states of mind, which is jealousy, anger, attachment. We're very scared because we want to hold on to things as if things will always remain the same. It does not. So we have very little tolerance for it, and so we do a lot of things to avoid it. But the way we do things, the way we operate, is on a level of protecting ourselves, protecting not ourselves from the actual problem, but protecting our self-cherishing mind. Protecting this part of our mind, this ego that needs to be reassured, and reassuring this actual mind that creates the problem in the first place. We're stroking the ego, in other words. Instead of removing the ego, the cause of our problems, we are stroking it. We're stroking it, we're making it bigger. So it will manifest in a different way. One problem ends, another problem comes up again. All right? So that's the problem about this self-cherishing aspect of our mind, because it never goes away as long as we don't realize the problem that arises from this part of the mind. Okay, so in order to do that, that's why we need to study. We need to study, and we need to contemplate, and we try to put ourselves in the scenarios. Some of them we relate to, some we don't. But whether we relate to or not, the cause we definitely all have, which is this part of the mind. Okay, and but it says here, we are very scared of problems, difficulties, but we push for things we want. And in this case, in this aspect, it's talking about samsaric things, about our attachments. We are very quick to avoid problems. We recoil. But when it comes to things we like, wow, we lunge out. When it talks about when someone's giving you a free lunch, you go ahead, jump. When something good happens, we're so happy. We can't control ourselves sometimes. And when something is bad, when our whole world comes crashing down. For some of us, sometimes we get angry. Sometimes we show a black face. Sometimes we complain. Sometimes we whisper to someone else, to talk about someone else. We manifest our jealousy that way by whispering, creating rumors, inadvertently creating rumors. So we do it all the time. So the idea about telling you all this is to show you that this kind of behavior arises from this part of the mind. Okay, so when you have this kind of mental attitude that creates this behavior, that's the self-cherishing mind. Anyway, I don't know what's going on my screen again. It's going crazy. My computer is haunted right now by something. Oh, it suddenly became all right. Anyway, so let's go on to the next verse. All right, verse 59 of Wheel Sharp Weapons. With comparative ease, we develop new friendships. Yet since we are callous, not one of them lasts. We are filled with desire for food and fine clothing, yet failing to earn them, we steal and we scheme. Trample him, dance on the head of this treacherous concept of selfish concern, tear out the heart of this self-centered butcher who slaughters our chance to gain final release. Okay, this one I did it earlier, which was a very, very good one. All of us, it's in order to, not all of us, but most of us, right, when we want to make a friend, it's quite easy. We make many friends in life. And sometimes we find that some of us find it difficult to maintain friends. We make a lot of friends, but they all go away. And it says here, we've been callous, callous, okay, which means insensitive. So what it means is that we have revealed our negative aspect, which is people don't like to see who we really are. So they see a part of us that is not nice. Perhaps we're very selfish. Perhaps we are very stingy. Perhaps we are the type that complains a lot, and we complain to a point where people can't stand to be with us because we only see negative qualities. When we complain means we only see bad things in people, in situations, so we complain. We only see not nice things, and so we in order to, because we are unhappy, so we complain, and then our friends leave. For example, okay, whatever it is, it arises from us, and this mind, this attitude, this selfishness, making us complain, making us be selfish. Sometimes some of us, we only make friends to use them. Okay? We see people as objects to be used. We make friends because this person can help us with something. This person can do something for us. This person can introduce us to someone else. So we only see people as objects to be used. And so over time, people see that and they realize it, and they don't want. It's not a nice feeling to be used. Okay, no matter how small, Sometimes, when you call someone, oh, come here. People thought you want to say hello, but actually you call them to ask them to do something for you. So it's not a nice feeling. Okay, so eventually people stay away. So when they stay away, who is the cause? Is to blame? It's not these people. It's we. It's the energy we exude with our intention when we want to be friends, when we become friendly with people. We want to use people. So, this is just one aspect of it. It could be whatever it is. It doesn't say here, but it says that we are insensitive, because insensitivity can be many, many things. All right? So, next line. We are filled with desire for food and fine clothing, attachment. Yet failing to earn them, we steal and we scheme. So how does that jive? What does that mean? So fine food and fine clothing, we love it, we want it. So it's our attachment side. Attachments means an object. In this case, it's a specific object, which is food and clothes. It could be any other object, So we have an attachment. So we have a extraordinary view of them. Extraordinary means extraordinary. We don't view it as just food. We view it as something that we strive for, we want, we will do anything to get it. So when we do anything to get it, we even lie, we even steal, we even scheme for it. We will use people, we will step on people, and it's just a material object. You may think, it's just food. In Malaysia, we are blessed because food is plentiful, so we don't really have to lie and scheme to get food. But some other countries is not. So maybe for us, it's not food and clothing. It is job and status. It could be it could be cars, or for some people, it's the children in where the children study, the most prestigious school, where you stay, the address. I live in Damansara Heights. I live in Bangsar. I live in Kenny Hills. In case, for those who are not in Malaysia, these are prestigious neighborhoods, okay? So just for the address and the huge house, the huge property, you will do whatever it takes. You know, for some people it's to lie. I mean, it doesn't have to be lying, but the example here is saying lying and stealing. So that means scheming. That means you do anything to get it, because your attachment, this self-cherishing mind, is so strong that it needs you, in order to free it with attachment, it needs to do even very, very negative actions. Negative actions lah, not very, very, just negative actions, okay? To get it. So this is not good. It create huge negative amount of negative karma. All right. So then the following lines are just requesting Yamataka, who's in the bottom of wisdom, to trample, to destroy this selfish mind. So basically, it's an entreaty it's a prayer to Yamataka. At the same time, it's telling you the cause of your problems. Again, is the self-cherishing mind. Every verse means each paragraph tells you the same thing at the end. Okay, next verse. I will go on to, let me see how much time I have. Okay, I'll do one more. Verse 60. Then we end for the evening, all right? Verse 60. We are experts at flattering ourselves for favors, yet always complaining we are sad and depressed. The money we have gathered we cannot bear to part with. Like misers we hoard it and feel we are poor. Trample him, dance on the head of this treacherous concept of selfish concern. Tear out the heart of this self-centered butcher who slaughters our chance to gain final release. So what happens is we are flattering. That means we say nice things to please people in order to get something from them. Okay, so but we are very, very unhappy inside. In the commentary, I've read that this one refers to Dharma teachers. So because when Dharma teachers, when they do that, they don't have realization. They don't have realization. So a sign of a person who has no realization, not enough. I wouldn't say no realization, but who have not overcome their problems, their issues. Will be they're always complaining. They're always unhappy. All right. So because they're unhappy, it's a sign of their lack of realization of the teachings that. So because Dharma teachers, in this case, we always have to do that. They always have to flatter sponsors, students, make them happy, to make sure they're all right, and we praise them, we make them happy, we do all sorts of things, right? So at the same time, it could be for us as well. It doesn't have to be just Dharma teachers. For us, we do it. We hope to get something, and many of the times when we do all that, whatever we put out, the effort we put out, right, in order to flatter someone, to kiss someone's behind, so to speak. I can't say the exact word because it's not nice. You know the expression . In order to kiss someone's behind, to make them happy, right? The amount of effort we put in, then what we get back in return is very small. So when we do it a lot of times, we get unhappy. We ourselves become unhappy because we put in so much effort, and the result comes back so little. And that's why we complain. We're sad, we're depressed, because the means does not justify the result. Anyway, the next one is the money we've gathered we cannot bear to part with. Like misers, we hoard it and we feel we are poor. Oh, this is very easy. This is about attachment. Okay, attachment. This one I want to emphasize the word hoard. Okay, hoard is something, especially in Malaysia, a lot of us do. And it doesn't have to be money, but in this specific sense, it's talking about money. Hoard means we want to keep it. And we want to keep it, and we will do anything to keep it, to make sure we do not lose it, to use it. Even when there's circumstances like to pay a bill. Okay, we need to pay a bill in order to have electricity. We rather wait to the last moment, the money, or we pay it and then, if we don't even pay it at all. So that's hoarding. And for a lot of us, money, we can't help it. Some of us hoard a little, we save, we call it saving. For some people, it's material items. So, there's such thing as hoarders. Hoarders is a phenomenon where people keep a lot of material items in the house. Have you been to houses where they have a whole cabinet full of souvenirs from trips? Chock full of little keychains. The entire fridge is filled with magnets from different countries of where they've traveled to. And then there are shelves full of free gifts from planes, from hotels. It's an Asian thing. I don't know. A lot of Asians, I don't know. My parents used to do it. I can say it because they're not around anymore. But anyway, they when the moment they check into a hotel, the first thing and then when they check out, the first thing that they nick away is the shampoos, the toiletries. So there are for some people, the cabinets are chock full of these kind of things. And then sometimes it's plastic bags full of more plastic bags. We're so afraid. We're kind of like a little recycling plant in our house. We are full of plastic bags because we might need to use them again. So we hoard them, and so on and so forth. So hoarding is a very extreme form of attachment, where I've watched this with Rinpoche, in a sense that it's a documentary about hoarders, and they did a study into it, and they found it's to do with loneliness. Hoarding is to do with loneliness. People who experience a loss of a loved one or something, a family member or something like that when they're very young, and they have taken it very badly, it scarred them. So when they grew up, and sometimes the loss was reoccurred, and then when it came again, they couldn't cope with it this time. So the way they dealt with the loss was to keep a lot of material items, because they feel that the material items, it's like memories. It's like it's like it keeps them company, because they're very, very lonely. There are people like that, and some of us are like that to a certain extent. Or we have a certain level of hoarder inside of us. We keep a lot of things because it brings back memories. We refuse to throw some things away. Like I have a cap from my childhood, so I keep, and I should be throwing it away. I have not, and I realize this too. So it's interesting to understand it, to see it as a form of attachment. All right. So, if no questions, right, so far? Okay, good. I will stop at verse 60. Okay, so it's 10:44. I think I've passed my time. I'm going to do dedication now, and we'll finish for the evening. My computer just froze. Okay, thank you very much. I hope I give you an understanding of the wheel sharp weapons on the verses that we read. Let me know about anything I've said, and if you have any questions for further or any other Dharma topics, let's bring it up, because anything will be related to this anyway. All right, thank you very much, and good evening to you guys. Chanchu Sencho Rinpoche, Maki Panagiyushe, Kebaya Mami Payang, Gone Go to Power Show, Tony Tonga Rinpoche, Maki Panagiyushe, Kebaya Mami Payang, Gone Go to Power Show, Dazo Genis Abagiwadi, Tanadroa Kunlanka Padan, Jebo Jozo Lozon Dropa, Tamping Burindo Sao Show, Kewa Gundo Yana Lamadan, Jemi Joki Pala Long Choching, Sadan Lanki on Tenra Chutney, Doji Changi Gopang Yuto Show, Gewadi 유도다 라마 상게 주니 조아치자 마루바 데 살라고 바쇼 주지자보 송가바 초선나마 배워라 게게저마 주와다 돈이 말로샤쇼 다다셴게도 선다 주아슬레테니 게와로선트라바이 tampar이 바기우제 니모달라센탈라 니미코인달라쇼 야선타투 달라파오 컨트롤선 중요로 컨트롤선 인고도서 컨트롤선 다시쇼 제순라마 쿠츠랍텐치 남카치네 조기게 바다 로선타미 드론 삼성기 드론스 타투네 게우제 강디라웨 코이싱감데 베넨데 오마루 경와이나 Generalizing on tension gas sharp city badu dan use hong dobing or malupa den dollar so Koran temple of China gave us shook and sell. Thank you very much. Good night.